Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Peter, and in this video I'd like to show you the quick release mod for Thrustmaster's latest add-on wheel, Ferrari SF1000. First, let's look at all the pieces included in the package. Same as in each QR set, there are two large shims and one small. These are used to adjust the fitting with the metal quick release. Next is an 8-pin extension cable with the JST 2.5mm connectors on both ends. It is about 100mm long. You will also get 3 of the 55mm M4 and 3 16mm M5 countersunk screws. Then there are the 3 3D printed pieces. These two are actually the same as in the standard Thrustmaster quick release mod that I made. But the third one is new, made specifically for the SF1000 add-on wheel. And this is just to accommodate for additional space required by clutch paddles. Please bear in mind that the slim quick release is not included. It needs to be purchased separately from places like eBay or AliExpress. No soldering is required to assemble the mod, but I would still highly recommend having a soldering iron at hand before applying the modification, and I'll explain why later in this video. Another thing you might want to have at hand is a couple of pieces of the duct tape. This will help you at one stage of the assembly process. Okay, now let's put the mod on. So first we need to remove the back cover of the steering wheel, and there's 10 screws that need to be taken out. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the same set on the other side. A standard Phillips screwdriver will do the job just fine. Okay, so that's done. One thing to point out is that the two screws on the sides here, this one and this one, are different than the others. So if you look closely, these are the ones on the sides, and there's 2 of these, and then this is the standard one that's connected to all the other screw holes. Please make sure to remember about it, because if you mix these, you could potentially damage your steering wheel. So now it's time to gently remove the cover, but please be careful when you do that, because there is a small cable that needs to be unplugged before you can fully take it off. So just get off, and as you can see, there's a small cable connecting the paddles and the clutch, so we just pull it to disconnect. Now it's time to flip the wheel and remove the 6 countersunk screws on the front. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so inside we have this aluminum piece shaped like a spider, and that is the core structural component of the F1 steering wheel. Before we remove it though, please make sure to unplug the wires for both of the rotary encoders. So let's remove first one and then the second. So now let's just gently pull the spider from the wheel by pulling on each side. Please remember to be very careful with that, because there's still one cable that we have to unplug, and this is the 8-pin one connected to the main PCB, as you can see in here. So I have the spider out. It went out pretty easily, but the problem is this cable here is very short, so you have to be extremely careful not to damage the JST connector on the PCB. So let's just pull it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so make sure to be a bit more careful there. I was right there. So here is the part when the soldering iron might be needed. Because for some reason, Thrustmaster used an extensive amount of glue on the balls connecting the plastic quick release with the metal frame. Please be advised that you are risking to damage the steering wheel if you don't take the appropriate precautions. In this picture, you can see what happened to my friend's wheel when he tried to force unscrew it. So consider yourself warned. So the solution to deal with this is to heat up the glue before attempting to remove the bolt. So you set your soldering iron to the maximum temperature and hold it inside the screw for a few minutes. The TS100 that I have here goes up to 400 Celsius, and I had to hold it for around 6 minutes or something on each of these screws before being able to remove them without any damage. Because the whole structure is made of aluminium, it acts like a large heatsink, and that is why it takes so long to heat it up. What I did when heating it up, I was holding my finger close to the area here and just waited until it gets fairly warm. At that stage, I knew that the whole section, the whole screw should be heated up enough to loosen the glue. As I already did that, the glue doesn't hold anymore, so I don't have to repeat it. Now I can simply remove the screws with a hex key. So now we need to remove the plastic piece. Just wiggle it around a bit and it should come out. Yeah. Next, it's time to take out the PS2 connector. Okay, so now just take it out and just move the wires a bit, and the connector goes through the hole. So we have our cable out. Right, so that's done, and now we have to put it back together again. First step is to attach the wheel piece of the slim quick release onto the 3D printed plastic with the free included 16mm M5 screws. Then we put the back cover on the spider and lock it with the 6 screws that we took out before. So 1, okay, so afterwards we need to insert the 3 M4 screws on the back, and then slide on the 3 3D printed pieces. So that's one. And for the middle part, the cutouts here on the bottom, you see, are for the paddle shifters, for the clutch paddles. So just align these so in the right position, like so. Okay, and for the third one, please remember that the wider part needs to be towards the top of the steering wheel. Okay, so now we can lock it in place. Right, so just make sure the screws are tight. And we're done. And now it is time for the PS2 connector. Again, if you didn't watch my previous videos, please make sure that this piece, let me zoom it in. So if you look at the connector from the front, please make sure that this part here goes towards the top of the steering wheel. And before it's mounted in place, let's apply the extension cable. So just simply slide it in, like so. At this stage, I would highly recommend to do a test fitting to your wheelbase. This is because of the inconsistency between different quick release units from AliExpress. It might be required to apply some minor adjustments. I made a separate video about this and I'll link it in the description, but long story short, if you cannot lock the QR, use one of the larger shims and put them between the mod and the metal part of the quick release, and if it locks in but is a bit loose, then apply the small shim on top of the QR mod, like so, and obviously lock it with a glue or something. Now it's time to put the spider back, but before we do that, we need to plug in the rotary encoder cables back. So originally the wires go on top of the spider, but because we have already attached the back cover to it, it would be extremely difficult right now. And therefore what I recommend to do is to flatten the wires on PCB and hold them in place with a piece of a duct tape. Now please make sure that the wires are perfectly flat. There is just enough space between the PCB and the spider so that the wires won't get damaged. But if you were to twist them, for example, like put them like so, yeah, then it could potentially damage these cables, and as a result the rotaries would just stop working, which we really don't want. Okay, so let's put one in and just connect the cable, so like so. See it? And now the other one. So I take a piece of duct tape. Alright. So that's done as well. Alright. That should be enough to keep the wires safe. So last thing to do is to connect the cable for the paddles and for the PS2 connector. Okay. When placing the back cover, please look carefully if the wires won't get caught in between internal components, as they could get damaged when tightening the screws. Okay, that seems to be fine. So now it's time to put back all the screws and we're good to go. And that's it. the Ferrari SF1000 steering wheel is now equipped with a proper quick release system. If you'd like to get one of these, the links will be in the description. Thank you very much for watching and have a great rest of the day. Bye!